Hello, eighth grade remote ELA students. So today we'll be looking at Act 4, Scene 1. So we're on to the fourth act. Just to do a little review before we start. In our previous act, Tybalt and Mercutio fought, and Mercutio was slain by Tybalt. Romeo seeks revenge on Tybalt and kills Tybalt. Romeo gets himself banished. The two lovers find out and they're just beside themselves with this news. They still spend their wedding night together. In scene 3, Romeo and Juliet find out about what's happened, spend the night together. They're just very upset. Um, and then in scene 4 and 5, Capulet and Lady Capulet talk with Paris about Juliet marrying him again. Capulet decides to have Paris and Juliet get married. Next Thursday, he makes this decision without her consent. Romeo and Juliet wake up together and they don't want to leave each other. Lady Capulet comes in to talk to Juliet about marrying Paris. Juliet denies the offer and then gets into a fight with her dad over it. Her dad insults her, basically tells her he's going to disown her if she doesn't marry Paris. Both her dad and mom want her to do this, and the nurse too. And the nurse and Juliet kind of have a falling out. And at the end of that scene, Juliet was on her way to the friar to get a plan to get out of marrying Paris. So this video is going to be focused on scene 1 of Act 4. Oh, wrong. Okay, so scene 1 of Act 4 takes place in Friar Lawrence's cell or monastery, kind of like where he lives. It's Tuesday morning, and we've got Friar Lawrence, County Paris, and Juliet. So at the beginning of the scene, Friar Lawrence and County Paris are talking, and Paris is all excited about the wedding to Juliet, and he is asking Friar, to help them get married and whatnot. This is a problem because Romeo and Juliet are already married, and Friar Lawrence was the one who did it. So Friar Lawrence says, "On Thursday, sir, the time is very short." Paris says, "My father Capulet will have it so, and I am not inclined to slow his haste." So he tells him, "Me and Juliet are going to be married on Thursday." Friar Lawrence is like, "Wow, that's like very quick." Paris says, "Capulet decided on it, and this is what is going to happen." The friar says, "You say you do not know the lady's mind. Bumpy is this road. I like it not." So he's like, "I don't really like this plan. I don't think you know what Juliet wants or where she's at in her mind." Paris says, "Immoderately she weeps for Tybalt's death, and therefore I have not talked of love. For Venus smiles not in the house of tears. Now, sir, her father thinks it dangerous that she do give herself so much to sorrow, and in this wisdom hastes our marriage to stop her ceaseless tears, which may leave her if she weren't alone. Now, do you know the reason of this haste?" So Paris explains to Friar that the reason why Juliet and Paris need to rush is so that she'll get over Tybalt's death and she won't be alone. So this will make her feel better. This is not true, but this is what Paris and Capulet seem to think. Friar says, "I would I knew not why it should be slowed. Look, sir, here comes the lady toward my cell." He says, "I wish I didn't know why it should be slowed." He does know. He married Romeo and Juliet, so he knows that. He says, "Here comes the lady toward my cell." So Juliet's about to enter. Paris greets Juliet and says, "Happily met, my lady and my wife. It's good to see you, my lady and my wife." Already calling her his wife. Juliet says, "That may be, sir, when I may be a wife." She says, "Not yet." Paris says, "That maybe must be love on Thursday next." So he says, "Next Thursday, that will happen." Juliet says, "What must be shall be." Friar says, "That's certain." So they're kind of just going back. She's kind of giving back and forth. She's going kind of giving him this cold shoulder here. Paris says, "Can you make confession to this father?" Juliet says, "To deny that would be confessing to you." Paris says, "Do not deny to him that you love me." Juliet says, I will confess to you that I love him. Paris says, so will you confess, I am sure, that you love me? Juliet says, if I do so, it will be worth more being spoken behind your back than to your face. Basically, he keeps telling her that he has feelings for her, he loves her, trying to get her to say that she loves him back. And she's over here, we've got, if you pressure me to say I love you, then it's worthless. Like basically, Paris is pressuring Juliet to tell him that she loves him. Paris feels bad for her and says, poor soul, thy face is much abused with tears. You've been crying a lot. Juliet answers with, that is a small victory for the tears, for my face was bad enough before their spite. Paris says, thou wrongest thy face more than tears do with that slander. Basically telling her to stop crying, stop being upset, and like move on. Juliet says, that which is the truth is no slander, sir, and what I spake it to my face. Paris says, thy face is mine, and thou hast slandered it. Juliet says, it may be so, for it is mine, not mine own. She is saying that she actually belongs to Romeo, but she's being sly and letting Paris think she has already considered herself his. So she's kind of messing with him right now, making him believe that, she actually wants to be with him and likes him, and kind of going along with his flirting here. But she's really talking about Romeo when she says that her face is not actually her own. Juliet then turns to the friar and says, are you at leisure now, Holy Father, or shall I come to you at evening mass? She basically asks Friar, can I talk to you? I need to talk to you. Friar Lawrence says, my leisure serves me now, pensive daughter. My lord, we may ask for time alone. So they ask Paris to leave so they can talk. Paris says, God shield me from disturbing devotion. So basically, like, I'll leave so that you can like confess your sins to him and like practice your religion. He leaves. As he leaves, he says, Juliet, on Thursday early will I wake thee. And he kisses her. Then adieu and keep this holy kiss. So he kisses her, leaves, and says, I will see you Thursday for our wedding. Now Paris has left. Juliet says, oh, shut the door. When thou hast done so, come weep with me, past hope, past cure, past help. So she is desperate. You can see her here begging the friar to help her get out of this relationship and marriage with Paris. Friar Lawrence says, oh, Juliet, I already know thy grief. It pains me beyond my wits. I hear thou must on Thursday be married to this count, and nothing may postpone it. So he says, I know what you're going through. And I know that you have to marry this guy soon. Juliet says, tell me not that thou hearst of this unless thou tell me how I may prevent it. She asks him for a solution. How am I going to get out of this? How am I, not going to marry Paris? If in thy wisdom thou canst give no help, do thou but call my solution wise, and with this knife I'll help it presently. She shows him a knife. Basically, she's pulling a Romeo here, and she is threatening to kill herself if he does not help her get away out of marrying Paris. Juliet continues. She says, God joined my heart and Romeo's, thou joined our hands. And ere this hand shall be sold to another, or my true heart turn to another with treacherous revolt, I shall slay them both. She says, you married Romeo and I will not be married to anyone else. Otherwise, I will kill myself. Thou hast lived a long time. Thou must have wisdom. Therefore, give me some counsel, or this knife shall fix that which the result of thy years and skills could not. So she's like, please help me, or I'm going to kill myself. Take not so long to speak. I long to die if thou speakest not of remedy. So she's like really at a point where she's kind of losing her mind here. And she's on the verge of killing herself. Friar says, hold, daughter. I do spy a kind of hope, an extreme idea to prevent you from doing this extreme thing. So he has an idea. He's going to figure out a way to get her out of marrying Paris. He continues, he says, if thou hast the strength of will to slay thyself rather than to marry County Paris, then is it likely thou wilt undertake a thing like death? Thou must grapple with death itself to escape it. And if thou darest, I'll give thee remedy. He says, I have an idea. If you are ready to, escape this marriage, you might do something that's similar to death to escape it. Juliet's very excited by this idea. She wants to do anything to get out of marrying Paris. She responds by saying, "Oh, rather than marry Paris," oops, bring that back up. Oh, rather than marry Paris, bid me leap from the battlements of yonder tower, or become a thief, or lurk where serpents are, chain me with roaring beasts, or shut me nightly in a morgue, cover me with dead men's rattling bones, with rotting flesh, and yellow jawless skulls, or bid me go into a new made grave and hide me with a dead man in a shroud. She's saying all the things she'd rather do than marry Paris. It's kind of ridiculous, but she would like to jump off a tower. She would like to become a thief. She would hang out where the serpents are, the snakes are. She would be chained to wild boars. She would rather be shut up in a morgue where dead people are. She would rather be covered with skeletons, rotting flesh, and jawless skulls, or go into a newly made grave and kind of hang out with a dead body. So she's saying, I would rather do all of these crazy things rather than marry Paris. All things that have made me tremble just to speak of them, and I will do them without fear or doubt, to live as an unstained wife to my sweet love. She just wants to stay with Romeo, and she will do all these terrible things in order to stay with him. So here's his plan. Friar Lawrence tells her, then go home, be merry, give consent to marry Paris. Go home, act like you're happy, give consent to marry Paris. Wednesday is tomorrow. Tomorrow night, look that thou lie alone. Let not the nurse lie with thee in thy chamber. Excuse me. He shows her a vial. So he says, Wednesday is tomorrow. Go home. Tell your parents you'll marry Paris. Tomorrow night, make sure you're alone in your room and don't let the nurse come, hang out with you when you're in your bed. He shows her a little vial, like in this picture. This is from the newer movie that we're going to watch. He says, shows her a little vial. He says, once thou art in bed, take thou this vial, and this distilled liquor drink thou off, and presently through all thy veins shall run a cold and drowsy humor, for thy pulse shall cease. So he says, tomorrow night, go home, tell your parents you're going to marry Paris, go to bed early and go to bed alone, and I want you to drink this potion, and it's going to make you seem like you are dead. It's going to put you in a deep sleep, and it's going to make you seem to everyone else that you are dead. You're going to drink the liquor, and all your veins will be icy and cold, and you won't have a pulse anymore. So she'll just appear dead by drinking this potion. Friar likes to create some sorts of potions. And that's what I talked about earlier about him being kind of like a mad scientist. The friar's going to go on a little bit of a rant here, so bear with me. The friar continues, no warmth, no breath shall show that thou livest. Thy roses and thy lips and cheeks shall fade to pale ashes. Thy eyes' windows shall shut. So her eyes will be closed. She won't be warm. She won't be breathing. She won't have a pulse. Her lips and cheeks will not be rosy. They will be pale. And her eyes will be closed. I might have said that already. Thy body shall appear like death, stiff and cold. So she's going to be stiff, cold. It'll look like she is dead. So you can see a picture of this from the movie here. And in this borrowed likeness of death, thou shalt continue 42 hours, and then awake as if from a pleasant sleep. So for 42 hours, she's gonna be like pretend dead, basically. And then after 42 hours, she's gonna wake up, and she can, excuse me, she can sneak away with Romeo and run away. Then he continues, now when the bridegroom comes in the morning to rouse thee from thy bed, there art thou dead. Paris will come in the morning to get you up for your wedding, and you will be dead. or you will appear dead. Then, as is tradition, thou shalt be dressed in thy best clothes and be borne, uncovered on the bier, to the same ancient vault where all the kindred of the Capulets lie. So once they find you dead, you will have kind of a funeral just like this in the big vault or monument or tomb where all the Capulets are. This includes Tybalt. In the meantime, before thou shalt awake, Romeo shall now know our plan by my letters, and hither shall he come. He and I will watch thy waking, and that very night shall Romeo bear thee hence to Mantua. So he says, you're going to take this potion, you're going to appear like you're dead, we're going to have a funeral for you. In the meantime, um, I'm going to reach out to Romeo and I'm going to let him know this plan that you're going to be fake dead and he should come, and when I'm going to also let him know when he should come to get you. And then he's going to come get her from the tomb and take her away to Mantua with him, and they're going to run away together. Here's the last part. So this is the plan. She's going to basically fake her death to get out of marrying Paris. And Romeo's going to come get her in the morning and they're going to run away to Mantua. And the friar is going to communicate all of this to Romeo as it happens. The friar continues. He says, "And this shall set thee from this present shame, if no inconsistency or womanish fear freezes thy valor in doing it." He's like, I hope you can have the bravery to do this. Juliet says, give me, give me. Oh, tell me not of fear. She's like, yep, let's do this plan. He gives her the vial. Get you gone, be strong, and flourish in this endeavor. I'll send Friar John with speed to Mantua with my letters to thy lord, telling him of this plan. He says he's going to give, a letter to Friar John, a different friar, to let Romeo know of the plan. Juliet says, love, give me strength. Farewell, dear father. All right, so I wanted to show you this little comprehension check before thou movest on. So Friar Lawrence's plan, we're going to write about this. And what will the potion he gave to Juliet do? So Friar Lawrence's plan is to have her fake her death, basically, to get out of marrying Paris, which seems pretty silly, if you ask me. But she's going to fake her death. They're going to have a funeral. She's going to be buried, or not buried, but put in the Capulet tomb next to Tybalt, who just recently died. And she's going to fake her death. They're going to have a funeral, all that stuff. And then Romeo's going to come get her, and they're going to run away together. And what will the potion he gave Juliet do? It will make her appear like she's dead. She's going to be like really in like hibernation mode, kind of sleep mode. All right, so go to your notes doc. We're going to take our first set of notes for Act 4. So Juliet, maybe I should start with Paris. So Paris and Friar are talking about wedding day. Or does not like quickly happening. My text is taking so long. There we go. Juliet enters and Paris is kind of creepy to her, kisses her, makes some sweet comments. Um, she doesn't like it, let's say, and she dismisses him. Then Juliet asks Friar for help escaping the wedding to Paris. Friar tells Juliet to take a potion that will make her appear dead, even though she'll really be asleep. Oops. Her family will find her dead, have a funeral for her, and Romeo will come in the morning, pick her up, and run away to Mantua. my error here. Friar will send letters to Romeo in Mantua about the plan. Okay, so Friar and Paris are talking about the wedding day. Friar does not like how quickly the wedding is happening. Juliet enters. Paris is creepy to her and she dismisses him. Juliet asks the friar for help escaping the wedding to Paris. Friar tells Juliet to take a potion that will make her appear dead, even though she'll really just be asleep. Her family will find her dead, in quotation marks, have a funeral for her, and Romeo will come in the morning to pick her up and run away to Mantua. Friar Lawrence will send letters to Romeo and Mantua about the plan, using Friar John as his messenger. All right. Well, great work today. So this is Act 4, Scene 1. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a good one. Reach out if you have any questions. Thanks.